Hello and welcome. Thank you so much for joining me on my program. I appreciate you wherever you are connecting from. If you are joining me from any part of the world, I thank you very much for your contributions on this channel. Please kindly subscribe if you have not subscribed, and also click the notification bell so that you'll be notified each time I upload a video. You will be among the first to receive it. In this channel, I bring information to your doorstep. I bring news from all channels, from every angle. Things that have to do about the world, things that have to do about Africa, more especially Nigeria. I bring it to your doorstep, some information that you ignore, some information that you cannot be able to come across. I look for them, I bring it to your doorstep for you to see. Every video you see on this channel is for educational purpose.
Thanks for staying with us. Two gentlemen, as you've seen in the welcoming slide, join us for this conversation. Dayo Akintobi is editor-in-chief, Today Community Newspaper, as well as Shehu Bashir, who is coordinator, Tinubu Solidarity Movement, Kwara State. Both of them join us virtually. Thanks for joining us this morning. Mr. Akintobi, let me begin with you. It seems that every election cycle, we have to have this certificates controversies. Every election cycle since 1999. Why, in your opinion, does it matter?
Well, it does matter because apart from the electoral law and the constitution, there's also the public's right to know what the educational background of the people who seek to represent us are. We have a duty of care to ensure that those that we choose to lead us have the intellectual depth and the cosmopolitan type take to manage their rights. And actually, we have an obligation to scrutinize the educational background and qualifications. It is for this reason that it is a requirement of both the Electoral Act and the Constitution that there is a minimum benchmark of education that any aspirant for political office must attain. And it is the responsibility of that aspirant to prove before the regulator that he or she has attained that minimum benchmark. Well, the easiest way to do that, of course, is to present a certificate. But truth be told, certificates from 40, 50 years ago sometimes might be difficult to come by. And as a result, alternatives are sought, like affidavits and things like that. But this is what is leading to all the various controversies, is the fact that affidavits sometimes do not answer enough questions, particularly where there seem to have been discrepancies between what is being said now and what has been said before.
This is not without prejudice, Mr. Akintobi, to the fact that this particular controversy has been on as well since 1999. But let me ask Mr. Bashir this one, as a follow-up to what you have said. Well, Mr. Bashir, well, this conversation is not just starting now, especially concerning the APC presidential candidates. All these kinds of obscurity, so to speak, uncertainties, all of that. So how does this really bother the campaign movement that you support?
Thank you for having me. First and foremost, let me say something. You talked about election cycle. Actually, you don't expect an election of this magnitude not to be scrutinized. This notwithstanding, doesn't mean that every scrutiny is correct or is in good faith. Most of these scrutinies are actually in bad faith, so to say. Okay, we know very well the caliber of those that are contesting these elections, unlike any other previous elections, particularly the person of Asorock Buhari, and we know how challenging it has been for people to actually come up with one or two things against him in the past. Now that he has not been a candidate in any of the election in the last 13 years or thereabouts, now is a candidate of the biggest election in the country. We expect that this will come up. Where what I always, said since the beginning of this saga is, come on, there's only two things that can be done here. One, you can be aggrieved against a particular candidate and say no to him, vote him out or vote him in the election. If you are aggrieved, go to court. For me, I think we have expressed so much opinion on something that has to do with legality or illegitimacy of an action. Okay? I don't think we need to bother so much. There have been a lot of debate on social media and all the rest. And I say, look, our opinions on social media cannot matter in reality in the genuineness, legality, or qualification of the candidate unless a court so pronounced, okay, that such candidates not qualified. Any other opinion we are expressing is basically on what comes in the election. So as it is, I don't think this actually is a big deal for Asorock that I know. Because we know in the past, things that have come up, it has gone to court, gone to final inquiry, and it has been trashed. So I don't know why people are not picking up. But I know understand one thing for sure. There's a way you play a kind of mind game, on the mind of the people. You want to see a particular candidate as being on the wrong side. So they sponsor all kind of wrong information ahead of election. But it doesn't really matter for those who know the way the game works. So for me, I'm not sure it has anything to do with Asorock's campaign. The campaign is going on fine. Everybody is going on fine. Nobody will take it very serious because we believe that no law is broken and no rules have been violated. So we move on.
Joe, is it a game that is being circulated where, because first of all, is that the man you're campaigning for, people will assume that you know him well, and such, and as such, you should be able to answer certain things that perhaps people may want to know. There's this matter circulating that he submitted an affidavit to INEC saying that he went on self-exile from 1994, and then his certificate was looted by unknown persons, and then now there are questions concerning several, perhaps his real age, his identity, did he go to school, who really is he? So when people ask those kinds of questions, to you, is it a game? Isn't it legitimate for people to want to find out what the real thing is or who the real person is?
Well, let me answer you in this way. For those that want to vote, who want to determine who their candidate will be, they have the right to ask questions. Okay? But for the form that any candidate will have submitted to the INEC, it is for INEC to work with. It is going to be within the discretion, the legal discretion of the INEC to determine whether a particular document survives or not. Okay? It is within the INEC power to determine whether this document is genuine or not. So what the candidate submits to INEC to scrutinize is for INEC to work with officially. Okay? What people see from that document is for people to determine whether the argument profiled by the candidate is genuine or not, for them to make a decision. So as far as I'm concerned, like I did say, as far as I'm concerned, I'm not sure there's so much good intention from those, spreading this fake news. And I can tell you for sure, Asorock Buhari is a well-nurtured, well-educated individual who has done so much in this country, who everybody knows has the right education, the basic requirements of education to qualify for the position of office of the president. I want to tell you, the law does not even say you must have degree or not. The law only calculates the least qualification to have, which he has. Okay?
Oh,
it doesn't matter.
Are you suggesting that he doesn't have a degree?
He does, of course. I'm telling you, he does. He does have a degree. That's what I'm saying.
Which one?
Which
one have you seen?
He has a university degree. Of course, the letter is everywhere. The member from the University of Chicago State University is everywhere.
Which one have you seen?
Pardon?
Which one have you seen?
I have seen the one written by Chicago State University, confirming that Asorock was the student and graduate from Chicago State University. So anything to the contrary is just mischief. I can say that. Anything to the contrary is just mischief. Okay. People don't have. I'm coming, please. People don't have as much genuine information for the good cause that they have mischievous information for the bad cause.
Have genuine information. Since you have genuine information, how old is he?
Asorock Buhari celebrated his 70th birthday last year, November. What more do you want to know, Mr. Chamberlain?
Is that his real age?
It is. Of course, it's his real age. What are you looking for? Why are you looking for a second opinion? This was somebody, that's something I want to ask of people. Why do you need second opinion for somebody who has actually...
No, we need to get to the second guest because there are two of you on the show, so just hang on a minute. Mr. Akintobi, what do you think of this?
Well, I think that it's incumbent upon the candidate to fulfill all righteousness in every aspect of the qualification process, beginning with the regulator. There are three different entities involved here. There's a regulator, there's a candidate himself, and then of course there's the electorate. The very first threshold that needs to be crossed is the regulator. And that regulator operates according to both the Electoral Act and the Constitution. And what those two say, the gentleman is correct, is that you need to have attended, to have been educated up to primary school level. But there has to be some verification of that attendance up to secondary school level. Now, what has precipitated the current controversy is that purportedly the forms that Bola Tinubu submitted to INEC recently, he left the space blank for primary school, left the space blank for secondary school, and where the space asking about his university education, he simply put in his degree. Well, that, in the view of many Nigerians, does not meet the threshold that is required by law in terms of proving that you are educated to a minimum of secondary school level, or whether it is primary school level, whatever the law says. So I say for Asiwaju Bola Tinubu to put this controversy to rest, it is very easy. He has submitted an affidavit. We accept, as Nigerians, we do not believe that anyone will swear to an oath under false pretenses. We give you benefit of the doubt that that affidavit is true and honest. But the affidavit does not in and of itself represent proof of the fact that you've been educated up to a minimum level. Now, we accept that certificates were looted, but every educational institution in the world has an archive from which they can pull your records. Even if your certificates are lost, they can write a letter attesting to the fact that you attended from so-so year to so-so year, and you completed class this to class this, and perhaps this was your school number while you were in the institution. So what I'm saying is, I think at this point, because the stakes are so high at the presidential level, remember this issue has come up before when Tinubu was running for Senate in 1993 and when he was running for governor in 1999, to the point that later he had to go to court all the way to the Supreme Court, and that issue has not been put to bed. But because the stakes are so high now at the presidential level, I put the burden back on Tinubu to clear the air by simply asking any of the institutions he attended to provide proof. His certificates are missing, but he can provide a transcript or a letter to that effect and submit to INEC, not social media.
Mr. Shehu, quickly, isn't that a simple thing to do? Shouldn't it be done? Mr. Bashir Shehu.
If the law requires him to do it, he will. If the law does not mandate him to do it, he won't do anything within the confines of the law. Simple as ABC.
Okay. Well, we have to thank you very much, gentlemen, for being a part of this conversation this morning. Rather short, I'd say. Dayo Akintobi is editor-in-chief Today Community newspaper, as well as Sheikh Bashir, coordinator, Tinubu Solidarity Movement in Kwara State. Gentlemen, thank you so much for being a part of our conversation.
Empty and dry, to the total exclusion of majority citizens. You don't see subsidy anywhere. They said they are selling petroleum at how much? Go to every filling station now. You will never buy petroleum or any other product associated with it at the official price. It is being sold at black market. Education is not being subsidized. Health is not being subsidized. If you are sick today in Nigeria, you're on your own. Nobody is subsidizing you. If your child is going to school, nobody is subsidizing you. Why are they subsidizing, said to be subsidizing petrol? Because that is the lucrative job of the cream of the society, which they have been inheriting from grandfather to father to children to grandchildren and to other people around them. I don't see subsidy. Try how much you can. Let's have you on subsidy for 1 billion years. I will remain dumb. I will remain blind. I will remain unconvinced and insensitive that subsidy is anywhere, is not anywhere. I don't believe in it.
The president didn't believe in it when he was outside government.
Now he knows better. Now he knows better.
So it suggests something deep down.
Yeah.
Beyond what we know and we see from outside.
When he denied subsidy and disclaimed there was no subsidy, he asked the same question. What are you subsidizing? Who is subsidizing who? But now that he's on that hot seat, I am sure he understands
Perhaps
the network.
if you are privileged to sit there, you also understand.
I may act differently.
How?
I may act differently.
In what way?
I will act differently. I will be more courageous. I will develop extra guts, extra audacity, extra courage to ensure that I face them head on. But the moment you begin
to face subsidy out completely?
It is possible. It only takes an extra courage and audacity. And of course, the moment you begin to protect other set of people, for that time, you cannot be able to withdraw subsidy. There are stakeholders who have been deeply rooted, second the Nigerian economy, and they are all over the corridors of power, within the power corridor, outside the power corridor, within the proximity of the power corridor. They are there. They are money bags. They play a lot of role in ensuring that Mr. A and Mr. B and Mr. C emerges as a candidate across, top to bottom. Because money speaks in Nigerian brand of politics. Money is epicentral. Money is more important than anything. That is their day. Their day comes in when you require money to fund politics. That is why you can't...
What have examined the security situation, the economic situation, and to an extent the political situation. It tells you the responsibility before the new set of leaders after 2023 election will be enormous. Many Nigerians will say we really need the best to take up this responsibility.
Well, we are looking for a leader, and may God help us to have him in 2023. A leader that is mentally alert, because there is a relationship between mental instability with performance anywhere, any day, at a household, local, state, federal levels. We are looking for a leader who will be courageous enough to submit to psychiatric evaluation, because sometimes you begin to wonder some of these behaviors. You think as if this person is psychiatric. Somebody is stealing 200 billion, 300 billion. He must be examined for psychiatric evaluation. We are looking for a leader who will submit to psychiatric evaluation, and whose certificate from the psychiatrist will tell you that he suffers from no neurosis, no psychosis, no elemental madness. We want the report to say that he is fully stable, oriented to time, people, and places.
But the laws did not make that condition.
No. If an unhealthy person is looking for a public office, it is a responsibility of the people around him and himself to submit to medical examination. We are looking for a leader who is not only mentally stable, but his health is ascertained. We don't want a leader who cannot walk from here to 30, 40 meters without standing. We want a leader who will go through full medical examination.
Is that why one of the aspirants in APC ran around the stadium? Why declaring?
Yeah, what we are saying is
prove his fitness.
Yeah, to do that, we want him to go through ECG, EEG, full medical examination, exercise ECG, city ECG, to ensure that there is no likelihood of him being collapsing at any moment.
Remember that it's not a job for manual labor.
It is a job for a person who is physically and mentally healthy and alert. I don't want to believe that. At one time you work like a laborer, at another time like a lawyer, at another time like a politician, at another time like somebody who is being chased, and you must run with your full force.
And perhaps, if I may add, most of the time act like a statesman.
That's right. We're also looking for a leader who has been injured in the past, who received so many multiple emotional lacerations and was able to get them healed by himself. That particular person who knows how painful it is to inflict an injury, emotional and psychological for that matter, on the entire citizenry. We are looking for a leader who has the focus, who can tell us actually who he is. A leader who can say, these are my educational qualifications. I attended a primary school in so state. This is the name of my headmaster. He has classmates. Let him mention whether dead or alive.
I remember the name of my headmaster.
I remember mine. Let him tell us the name of the headmaster and at least 5, 6, 7 people of his classmates who are dead or even those who are alive. We want to know his secondary school, where he went to, who were his classmates in secondary school. We don't want somebody with multiple personality who goes to answer different names in different locations. We want somebody who is not dropping names. We want somebody who is not having personality disorder or multiple personality disorder. We want somebody who is honest to himself, sincere, and who can travel every part of the world without thinking that something somewhere will come up. We want a leader who will subject himself to examination of his organs, especially the kidneys, because they are clearly.
Are you not going too far?
I'm not going too far. It's very important. We need a mentally physically
a 40-year-old that does not have health challenge.
It doesn't matter that he has not come forward looking for this job. Those who come forward looking for this job should be people whose kidneys will not fail, as we've seen the danger of kidney failures in leaders in the past. We don't want a repeat episode of that. We want somebody who will not miscurate in public. Somebody who will be having frequent miscurating in public.
Okay.
Somebody who will be graduating.
You have captured it as you deem fit, as you perceive it, because I've said our laws are clear in what is required and other. But let me further take you up on issue of when that leader emerges. Another problem will be dealing. I mentioned statesman for a reason. At this point in time, many of the view that we need a statesman, someone who will heal the nation, someone who will repair the cracks that I've seen very wide and obvious in walls of our unity, that will reduce mutual suspicions. Some will say even mutual hatred at some point.
That is the reason why. That is the more reason why. That is
a new Nigeria.
That is the more reason why you should look at these aspirants. The answer is very clear. Only one person fits in there. He is the only person who will hit the ground working now, because he has been there. We are not looking for somebody who will use Nigeria as a guinea pig. When you preside over a state government, it doesn't give you that exposure to preside over Nigeria. We want somebody who was there in the corridors of power, who knew the intricacies, who knows the arithmetic, the geometry, the everything of power, who knows the bleeding, who knows how to heal wounds, because he has been injured severally and he was able to heal his own wounds. Anybody capable of healing his personal wounds has more likelihood of healing a larger societal wounds inflicted on us oftentimes deliberately. We are looking for somebody who understands that the world stage has changed. We are looking for a leader who will think globally and bring his experience locally to act. And who will think locally and act globally. Who appreciate that there are local events that if he allowed to go beyond proportion will have a global effect. And there are events that are happening in the world that have local effects. He must be able to understand all this interplays, all these intricacies. An unhealthy candidate will not be able to do that. An unhealthy president will not be able to do that. Among the candidates, we have the healthiest, the most exposed, the most experienced, which I hope Nigerians will think wisely, act wisely, behave wisely when it comes to exercising their own responsibility as voters.
Their franchise is down to their personal beliefs and whatever. As we get set to leave, there's a new crave among young persons to get registered as persons who